Hi, welcome everyone. We're going to wait just a couple minutes and let everybody log in and join before we start.
Pam, just as a little update, we're at 137, so people are continuing to come in.
Thank you.
I'll keep an eye on it and let you know when it kind of slows down.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody tonight. I'm going to start off by introducing myself. My name is Pam Metcalf. I'm the associate principal at Stratford. I'm sorry that Mr. Barnes will not be able to join us tonight. He is under the weather, but I'd like to introduce the panel of people that are here with us tonight that are going to help answer all of your questions. This is a parent meeting about course selection for next school year. On this panel, we have Carl Blaze, who is the current 9th grade principal, Jeff McCord, who is the current 10th grade principal, Valerie Johnson, who is the current 11th grade principal. We have Crystal Arrington, one of our counselors, Lynn Hollister, another one of our grade level counselors, Daryl White, a 3rd grade level counselor, and we have Jim Harrington, who is our lead counselor, and he is going to show a PowerPoint presentation and go through that PowerPoint with you. Again, we thank all of you for being here, and if you have questions, please put them in the chat, and one of our panelists will answer them for you. Thank you.
Well, good evening. I'm glad you're here. We're going to be sharing this PowerPoint with you and walking through the PowerPoint. And it's just a simple PowerPoint to remind you about course selections and the importance of choices and what the students are doing. So we want to remind you that, you know, as Spartans, it is a people of great courage and self-discipline. And that's what we think about our students. They have a lot of courage. They take courses that may be a little bit more difficult. They're taking exotic courses like dual credit and dual enrollment, and they're very well self-disciplined working at the things that they need to graduate. This is our administrative team. Mr. Barnes, of course, is our principal. Ms. Metcalf is our associate principal. Mr. Ratana is our 12th grade principal and will be working with our incoming ninth graders for next year. Ms. Johnson is our 11th grade principal, and we'll have seniors next year. Mr. McCord is our current 10th grade principal, and Mr. Blaze is our current ninth grade principal. Also, the counseling team is consisted of quite a few people. Myself, I'm the lead counselor, and I have N through R, and I'm currently handling the C's. Ms. Hollister has the D through H's. Ms. Arrington has the I through M's and is temporarily for the B's. Mr. White has the S through Z's and temporarily has the A's. Ms. Simpson is our post-secondary counselor. Ms. Thompson is our CIS Special Services Counselor and is a MSW in social work. We have 2 administrative assistants, Ms. Ramos, who works with the 3rd floor office, and Ms. Autry, who works with the 2nd floor office. And Ms. Ramos is in charge of monitoring scholarships, and Ms. Autry is working with the virtual visits for students wanting to look and talk to potential college recruiters. Also, in our registration and administrative team, Ms. Webb is our registrar. Everything that has to do with a transcript goes through Ms. Webb. Ms. Matus is our administrator to the registrar, so she answers all the questions. So Ms. Alvarez and Ms. Cardoza are our 2 attendance clerks. So anytime a student is absent, that's who you need to get in contact with is Ms. Alvarez and Ms. Cardoza, and all the excuses go through them. You know, we're still running our A-day, B-day schedule. So every class is exactly the same time every day. So we have first period or second period, depending on A-day or B-day, goes from 7:45 to 9:10. Our third period is 9:16 to 10:41. We have Spartan time every day from 10:47 to 11:27. That class is very important because that's when our students can work with our teachers, get time to go to tutorials and visit the teachers that they need to get extra help. Our students should be using that extra time. So if your student is struggling in a class, ask them when they get home if they've gone through the Spartan time and if they've been working through it. Of course, we have an A lunch and a B lunch depending on their 5th period and 6th period class. And then the last period of the day is starts at 1:30. We do have an A lunch and a B lunch, and students that have 5th or 6th period math, social studies, science, foreign language, office aid, they usually have A lunch, and B lunch are the students who are in English, athletics, fine arts, a career technology class, or they have Guthrie Center during 5 and 6, and they have a B lunch. So for the Guthrie Center, we have 3 sets of buses that go to Guthrie every day. You know, the first bus leaves at 7:25, so any student that has the first period of the day for Guthrie, they should be going there. Usually 5th and 6th period leaves at 10:57, and 7th and 8th period leaves here about 1 o'clock. And every student right now is going to the Guthrie Live, so they have to be there at Guthrie, so that's very important. So what does the student need to graduate from high school? Well, it's 26 credits, and they need to have an endorsement. There are 5 endorsements that we work with: STEM, business and industry, arts and humanities, public service, and multidisciplinary. There are some levels of distinguish that students can achieve. They have to have Algebra 2 in their credit. They have to have at least 4 years of science, and they have to have met their endorsement and get that distinguished level of achievement. And there's some acknowledgments that go on their transcripts, and that comes in the area of dual credit, the early college program, the AP test, the PSAT, ACT, and even some areas inside our classes to can they earn certificates. Students also don't move by the number of years they're in high school, they move by the number of credits. So for a student to be by the end of their freshman year to be a sophomore, they have to have 5 credits. By the end of their sophomore year, they should have 11 credits to be a junior. And by the end of their junior year, they should have 17 credits to be able to be a senior. And so that's very important to remind our students. You know, we talk about data, and we talk about the 26 credits and what is an endorsement and how do I get college ready. We try to make every student college ready. So we want those students to be successful. But as we look at it, what the state says every student needs to be successful and to be college ready are 4 credits in English, 4 credits in math, 4 credits in science, 4 credits in social studies, 1 credit in the fine art, 1 credit in PE, 2 credits in the same language other than English, and at least 6 credits. A Stratford student could graduate with as much as 32 credits because they could earn 8 credits a year, and that for 4 years that becomes 32 credits. So the minimum to graduate with 26 means that a student can make a mistake here and there, but they can't make a mistake in the required courses that they need to graduate. And so as we look at this, we talked about the credits that needed to be a freshman, sophomore, and a junior. So that our 8th graders, we've been down in the 8th grade classes working with the 8th grade students, working with their endorsement. Their endorsement has to be approved in their Skyward, and they have a 4-year plan that we've been working with them and mapping that out for them. So an endorsement is a Texas graduation requirement. We want to remind you that, not a college requirement. So if your students are thinking about going to college, we need to work with those students and make sure that they're meeting the requirements for the entrance at the university they want to attend and meet the graduation requirements. We talked about their 5 endorsements: STEM, Arts, Humanities, Business, Public Service, and Multidisciplinary. And I'm going to go through them real quick. But I want you to see that every one of them requires 20 credits and 6 electives. So a STEM is 20 credits, 6 electives. Business and History, 20 credits, 6 electives. So it's the same basic credits plus the electives. So Public Service is the same, Arts and Humanities is the same, and Multidisciplinary is the same. So we keep everybody on target with 4 English, 4 math, 4 science, 4 social studies, complete their 2 years of a language other than English, complete their credit in PE, complete their credit for fine arts. We can help them earn endorsements in any of the other areas because those electives will be specific. If you go to the Stratford homepage and go under academics, there'll be a link to the high school course catalog. This is your end all be all for everything high school regarding the courses. So it explains the courses. It tells what the courses are. It explains how to find the course. It'll tell you what the endorsements look like. What are the electives that they need for each endorsement? So make sure that you're going to that high school course catalog to help your child understand what they need for high school. There's some names that we need to stress that we're using this year that'll be different. Next year that'll be different than this year. We have our grade level or academic courses. The formerly pre-AP courses are now going to be called advanced academic courses. And that's because the College Board wanted us to pay for the curriculum, pay for the term pre-AP and buy their curriculum. And the district said we can provide the same services without buying their curriculum. So that's why we're calling them advanced academic courses instead. We have our AP course, our advanced placement. Of course, over at Westchester, they have the International Baccalaureate. We have dual credit and dual enrollment here at Stratford. Dual credit is usually through HCC. Dual enrollment is through the University of Texas, so that's very important. We have programs for beginner speakers, those who are trying to learn the language. We have a gifted intelligence program. We have sheltered education for those still learning the language. There's special ed, and right now we're doing virtual learning. So all these things are programs on our campus. There's a page, I believe it's about page 4 in the course catalog that describes what the different courses are. It describes advanced placement. It describes dual credit. It also describes dual enrollment. And I think Mr. Barnes sent this page out to parents so that it would be part of your things that you know. So the difference on our campus about dual enrollment and dual credit is that the dual enrollment classes are a combination with the University of Texas and a teacher here on campus. We're teaching the University of Texas curriculum. The teacher on campus is teaching that curriculum. UT is either grading papers or grading tests that the students are taking, and that's how they're earning their grades through the University of Texas. Those grades that are earned at the University of Texas can be transferred to any university in the United States because it is a level 1 university. They won't transfer the grade, it only transfers the credit. So that's very important to remember. Dual credit is through HCC. According to state law, that dual credit must be accepted by all the universities in Texas. So that's very important for us to know as well. So let's talk about our courses as we go along. You know, we have a lot of different courses that are out there, but one of the things that we want to talk about is the dual enrollment classes through UT. And this one is missing one of them because we have a brand new one that we just added. But we have, the juniors take English 3 DE. That's a dual enrollment course, and that course is earning them freshman level English in college. And they're also earning a Stratford grade. We also have at Algebra 2, the college algebra course. Then also, we are also teaching pre-calculus dual enrollment through, which is also through the University of Texas. We're also teaching US History DE and Geosciences, which is on our curriculum. It says Earth and Space Science. We added one more DE course, and that is Chemistry DE. So the students are earning their first year of chemistry at University of Texas. So we have some good DE courses for the students if they want to earn college credit. In English, they earn 6 credits. Algebra, pre-cal, and Earth and Space Science, they earn 3. US History, they earn 6. So that's quite a few credits that they can earn. At the senior level, we have dual credit and early college program, which is actually a part of the DC. So for a student that wants to earn dual credit, for seniors, if they have not earned the UT credit or have not taken the English 3 DE class, they can take the English 4 dual credit with Ms. Sharp. Ms. Sharp is a HCC professor and a Stratford teacher at the same time. Seniors can also take, if they took the UT English 3 DE course, they can also take the ECP class and the US government and Texas government through HCC. So that's another possibility. English credits are 6 credits. The government credits are earning a total of 6 credits. So that as a senior, they could be earning 12 college hours through HCC. So just looking at it, just trying to understand the sequence. Generally, if a student is starting math in high school, they take Algebra 1, Geometry, go to Algebra 2, Pre-Cal, and then Calculus. So that, but to get to DE, some people say, well, how can I take DE? As a freshman, we were talking with kids today that have already taken Algebra 1 and Geometry, and they're eligible to take the dual enrollment class and earn college credit in algebra as a freshman. So they can go from Algebra 1 to pre-calculus dual enrollment. So students have a great opportunity to earn 6 more credits in math through the dual enrollment program. Same in English, and as you can see on the chart on the left-hand side, if they take the dual enrollment English, they can go into the ECB credit as an English 4, but they have to be ready to take the rigor. Classes are much more difficult. There's a lot of rigor. There's a lot of writing. So the students have to be prepared to take those. So as we go through, there are going to be some changes for our incoming 9th graders, but our current 9th graders can go to world history or take the advanced academic credit. There's also AP world history if they want to do it. But from there, they can take the USDE credit, but they can also take the government credit, but only if they take the English 3. Every part of this PowerPoint and everything that we're going to be sharing with the kids will be emailed to all the parents Friday afternoon. So the possible science DE, our students can now, they can go from biology as a freshman, and in chemistry, they can take the DE program, the dual enrollment. And then after chemistry, they can take the geoscience or the earth and space science DE. so that they can earn credit. So we wanted to share with you today that it is possible for your child to walk away from Stratford High School with at least 33 college credits if they took all the DE classes that we offer. We're going to be sending home this form. This is for the class of 2024, but we're going to send one for the class of 2023 and the class of 22. But this is our course selection sheet. That's going to be sent home with the kids. The kids will get it tomorrow, actually, in their Spartan time. They'll be seeing a presentation tomorrow in the Spartan time. We'll be posting all of that presentation. We'll be sending it home to you on Friday. They're also going to be picking up a form. This is our pre-AP AP contract, which is now called the AAC AP contract. And students who are taking any advanced course whatsoever will need to be taking and signing this and bringing it back to us. And I'll try to produce this form in a printable form for PDF so that you can use it and send it back to us that way. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and leave it open for questions. Who's been monitoring the chat box and questions, and the counselors can jump in and ask questions?
So far, the counselors have been pretty much manning the questions, and we've answered all of them up to this point.
Ms. Metcalf, will you see anything that we haven't answered?
No, Miss Arrington's correct. So far, they have all been answered, except for we have one that says, how will virtual learners get these forms?
Well, we're going to send them out Friday through that, but we are in their Spartan time. The teachers are going to be sharing that PowerPoint and presentation. It's actually a Camtasia going through. They'll be sharing that with the students during Spartan time. So the virtual students should be in their Spartan time seeing the presentation, and then we'll send it out through email, through Skyward on Friday. I see a question about what's the difference between AP and DE and DC. There's a big difference. AP courses, to earn the credit, you have to take the AP exam and score a 3 or better. On the DE, you have to pass the course. And if you pass the course, you have a choice to accept the credit or not. And the DC credit, the dual credit, that course is automatic. That the grade that you earn from HCC is also the high school grade, so that you'll earn that credit by passing the course. So the DE and DC credits are earned automatically if they pass the course. The AP, they have to take an AP exam, and the university has to accept the credit. And not every university accepts it, so you've got to know what each university works through.
Mr. Harrington,
there about Algebra 2. If they're in Algebra 2 now as a sophomore, as a freshman, we recommend AP Stats, then Pre-Cal, and then Calculus, because based on what the students have to take at college, if they take Calculus as a senior, they're better prepared for the next level of Calculus than they are if by taking Pre-Cal, Calculus, and Stats. So Stats, Pre-Cal, then Calculus.
Mr. Harrington,
Mm-hmm.
they got some questions that up a little further up top is they want to know when the form is due.
Okay, so we'll be sending that out. I think I want to say the current 11th graders will be due, like the 9th and 10th? Does that sound right to the other counselors? I think it's that way. So we have certain days that we'll be working. I think it's the 9th and 10th, but we'll be in their history classes working with them and expect them to send it in to us virtually if they have it virtually. If they're in the classroom, they'll giving it back to us in the classroom.
And then there is a question that says, does a student have to ask permission to take psychology dual credit?
Through the University of, the psychology dual credit is offered at ACC. So you have to ask the counselor, and then we have to arrange it through the district. So it takes a little bit more, but we can work it out. But yes, they can ask for permission, and we can, because we have to go through our dual credit department and ask to go through and going from there. Is ACC equivalent to pre-AP? The answer is yes. That's the new term for pre-AP. Can a student take chemistry AAC and then take chemistry AP? It depends on their math. And I'm going to say that honestly, because if they're in AP Chem, they should be in AP Calculus because of the math possibilities for chemistry. So that's the issue that working with it. That's a very rigorous course. The AP Chem is very rigorous. Students should be through pre-cal before they take AP Chem. So if a student,
I just wanted to add real quick, Mr. Harrington, my apologies for cutting you off. There seems to be a lot of question about the differentiation between dual enrollment, AP, and that's pretty much, we encounter that on a regular basis. We strongly encourage you there's a meeting designed to conquer all of the questions that are geared towards the difference between dual enrollment versus AP. If one of my colleagues could assist me with that, because the data escapes me, but that would be a lot more concise with the differentiation.
Yeah, there'll be a meeting. We'll send it out February 3rd. Will be a meeting with the HCC, the University of Texas, discussing dual enrollment, dual credit. But everybody's asking about the fact that they're looking at what is the rigor? The rigor for dual enrollment and AP are about the same. They're college courses. So all the dual enrollment, dual credit courses are college courses. The rigor is just about the exact same, if not more difficult, because they are college courses.
Somebody wants you to please repeat the order you suggested for math.
Well, normally if a student is taking Algebra 1, they should go to geometry and then Algebra 2. If they're in Algebra 2 as a freshman, we recommend AP Stats, then Pre-Cal, then Calculus, because we want the students to take calculus right before they walk into college and have to take the next level of calculus. If they split a year and say they go from Algebra 2 to Pre-Cal to Calculus and then the Stats, then they sit out a year from the calculus, and that causes more problems in college than anything else. Somebody who failed college calculus, I can swear to it, that's not an easy task.
Do sophomores have dual enrollment courses, or is it just junior year they're able to enroll in dual enrollment courses?
Depends on their level of math, because math can start as early as a freshman in Algebra 2 DE. So we have an Algebra 2 dual enrollment. We have a pre-calculus dual enrollment. And for students, they can accept the credit for the dual enrollment or they can decline it. The only thing about accepting the credit or declining the credit, if they decline the English 3 dual enrollment credit, they can't go to the level 4 dual enrollment or the dual credit. They have to go to AP. So that's one of those issues looking at it. So think when the DE comes along and they're accepting the credit, what the difference is at the college level is if they go into UT, the credit and the grade go with them. If they're going anywhere but the University of Texas, it's only the credit. Because if I was a A&M professor, I wouldn't be accepting the UT grade. I didn't teach that course. So I don't know about their rigor. So generally what's happening with the DE is if they accept the credit and they're going to a school other than the University of Texas or Texas Tech, they just get the credit. Yeah, one of the parents is saying that Baylor, a couple of the private universities, Baylor for one, I know, doesn't take the dual enrollment credit. So they won't accept them. They make the students take it again. Some do, some don't. So it's really important to check with the universities.
The other question that's come up a couple times is this PowerPoint going to be available to everybody?
Yeah, we're gonna send it out with everything else on Friday afternoon, once we get through with the kids and the presentation tomorrow night. I see a question about AP course generally more versatile for college acceptance of credit. Not necessarily. There are many universities that don't accept any AP credit whatsoever. It just depends on the university. Most universities in Texas will accept it, but we can't speak for all of them because I know for sure Harvard doesn't take them. MIT does not take it. There are some quality schools that do not take AP credit. So we have to look at it. The rigor of dual credit is a college course. So it's just like a college course. So the rigor is just like you're being in college, just like an AP course is designed to be a college level equivalence. That's the same for dual credit and dual enrollment.
I think it's important for us to keep in mind that even if the class does not necessarily count towards your college credits, it is most certainly important for you to be able to showcase that you're able or in a position to take the most rigorous classes as someone who's not even in undergraduate work, so that the colleges would consider you to be a more feasible candidate. So it's going to work in your favor in some capacity. Either you're going to get the credit or they're going to look at you and know that you're able to do the work.
Do we see anything else that we need to answer?
It says, is it possible for a sophomore to take 2 AP classes?
Absolutely. I know that there's AP world history, and they can take a dual enrollment course, which counts as weighted courses. So they could take something that's weighted in more than one area and earn college credit.
One of the questions that was asked is, why would you choose not to accept the dual enrollment credit?
Well, sometimes some students won't accept it because it's not an A or B, and they're planning to go to UT. But sometimes when they don't accept that credit, then they can't take the sophomore level English class as a senior. So it's a catch-22. So yeah, it looks at it. If you're not going to the University of Texas, there's no reason not to take the credit. And it is the dual enrollment, dual credit, and the AP courses all require time. So students got to spend time working on the classes because it's very, very important that they understand that they're taking college level courses everywhere.
Mr. Harrington, there's a question in this question and answer bubble also that says, having a freshman, should I already be getting an account in Naviance?
All the students have an account. All the parents have an account, because I've sent out to the parents a list of everything. I sent their passwords to them earlier. So all the students have a Naviance account. It's already there. All they have to do is log in with their school email and password. All the parents have an account. We've sent their passwords to them so they can set up their accounts if they need to.
And also, if I may interject, if the parents do not, have an account already set up, like they haven't actually logged in with their password, they can contact me and I can send them the password, and the same with the students, because we do have some students that have never logged into Naviance. And so we can generate some passwords and get those sent out to them as well so that they can get registered in Naviance.
And that is Miss Simpson who is talking. And when she said you can send questions to her, that is our post-secondary college counselor.
Thank you, Ms.
Yeah, our parents don't, if they didn't click on the links that we sent them and they didn't set up their account, that's there ready available. The student accounts are already there. That's their password, their email and password. Those accounts are set up the day they walk into school.
Hey, Jim, why don't
Yes,
you
sir.
touch on a little bit about the dual credit and dual enrollment? Because the parents are asking a lot of questions about the rigor, but there's another element from a communication standpoint, that the teachers, I mean, that's really like a college level, that communication, talking to the professors, where
Oh, yeah.
don't have that access. So why don't you
Yeah.
touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, and one of the things that we have to understand that is when a student is in a dual credit or dual enrollment class, and you're talking about their college credit, we as teachers, we as counselors, we as administrators, even parents cannot talk to the professor directly. Only the student, and only if the student gives the parent permission and signs a form can the parent talk to the professor. So it's really treated like it's a college level course. Now, the dual enrollment teachers are our teachers on campus, but those who are grading the papers are not on campus, and the parents cannot talk to the UT professors, only the students. So that's very important. Just like our ACC senior level classes, even though the professors may be working on campus, we as administrators and counselors cannot talk to the professor, only the students. So that's very important that communication, because of the purple laws dealing with them as high school students, but also as college students, they have to follow the college students' rules. So that communication must be between the students and the professors. The question about updating their endorsement, absolutely, they can update the endorsement. And all Guthrie Center classes take 2 periods, just like athletics does. Yeah, Mr. White mentioned the fact that cosmetology takes up 4, and that is a hard thing to schedule for kids. Do we have any other questions that you see that we haven't answered?
I do not see any,
Well,
except one just came in. Do you have any information on the pharmacy tech program?
So basically, the pharmacy tech program is just, that's a student who's going to have a public service endorsement. As a freshman, they take principles of health science and medical terminology. Then they branch off to the Guthrie Center classes, and they'll take health science theory. It does not have a clinical. And they'll take pharmacology. And then as a senior, they'll take the pharmacy tech class. That program is pretty rigorous. If they get all the way through it and take the exam and pass the exam, they'll be considered a pharmacy technician, and they'll be able to work in pharmacies while they're going to college.
There's a question that asks, will there be HOSA next year? So I'm assuming that they're asking if there's going to be health
The
science
rotations.
clinicals.
Yeah. They're talking about the health science theory with clinical. That's a rotation. That only depends on the virus and what's going on. Right now, they're doing virtual. So they're going into virtual meetings and following different people. So they are doing that much. So we're looking at that. Can they get a program at sophomore? That's the latest they can start an endorsement, because they have to get 6 credits in their endorsement area. So if they don't start as a sophomore, they probably won't get them. Do IEPs apply to DC and DE courses? No, they don't. You can apply for some accommodations, but the university can deny them. So that's one of those things. Now, it does apply on our side when working with our teachers, but it does not apply to the UT side or the ACC side unless they send a letter to the, I forget what the name of the department is. Do you remember, Ms. Arrington or Mr. White? But there's a department at ACC and UT for accountabilities and asking for their assistance, but they have to submit their IEPs, and it has to meet within the college guidelines. So usually the IEPs do not apply because they cannot modify the curriculum for students.
Mr. Harrington,
If
there's a
it's
question.
called-
Summer school offerings, any word on what will be offered as some students want to take to facilitate taking other courses in the fall?
Before
We
he
have
answers
not
that,
been-
can Ms. Hollister address that, because she definitely has some expertise in that area.
So you would apply for accommodations for the Office for Students with Disabilities, whether a student has a 504 or an E IEP.
But the university doesn't have to give it to them, so that's one of those
No.
things that they have to look at. Summer school, we haven't heard anything about summer school yet, so we can't tell you what courses are going to be offered. We won't even know until late April.
Somebody wants to know who to contact about ASCE and AOF internships.
Okay, so the Academy of Science and Engineering and Academy of Finance internships. I think you talked to Ms. Shopper and Ms. Jackson about the AOF internships. There's also a person at Guthrie Center named Tina Miller. So Ms. Miller can help students do internships. So there are those three people are the ones that know the most about internships. But a lot of students find their own internship and then turn it into us. You know, like I had a student that found a pharmacy tech internship this fall, and then we put her into the class at Guthrie Center for the internship so that she could get into it, since she could not get into the health science theory with clinical because we're limited to 40 slots. We had to find an alternate way for her to get that health science, and that's how we did it, was do an internship. So there's lots of other ways we can help work those kids.
I just wanted to add very briefly. I know that Amanda Thompson, our communities and school counselor, she also has some opportunities for students to gain exposure to summer internship / job opportunities. So they may want to reach out to her as well if they're having difficulty making a connection.
The question about the TSA test, TSI test, a requirement for DC classes, when we do the dual credit classes, we use the PSAT, we use the SAT, and we use the English 2 EOC for the qualifications for them to get into the dual credit classes through HCC. We don't administer the TSI. The TSI we really administer for kids who haven't passed the SAT, haven't scored high enough on the SAT to be college ready. So that's when the TSI comes into place. And we have some students taking the TSI to replace the English 2 EOC because they haven't scored high enough, and will be having taken the TSI test on February 5th. Can the students graduate with more endorsements? Absolutely. Most students graduate with 2 or 3. So that's pretty awesome for most students, because most students will have a multidisciplinary. If they're already in Algebra 1 as an 8th grader, they'll have a STEM, and then they'll have one other area. Usually our students will either have STEM, business and industry, and multidisciplinary, or STEM, arts and humanities, multidisciplinary, but some of them have graduated with 4. So it's quite possible.
Okay, there's a question about when students apply for ASE and AOF, and how do they find out the prereqs?
Okay, so prereqs for ASE is that you have to take biology and chemistry, you have to take Algebra 1 and geometry, and you have to be ready to take an AP course in science. And as a junior, the AP course is AP physics. So that's coming along. So they can apply as a junior. As a sophomore, that'll be part of what we talk to the kids. I'll make sure we get that paperwork from Mr. Avis and Mr. Barrett so we can go through there. The pharmacy tech does not start as a 10th grade at Guthrie Center. It only starts at 11th grade, but the prerequisites to get into pharmacy tech are principles of health science and medical terminology, and they have to start principles of health science as a freshman.
Somebody's asking about Project Lead the Way courses.
Those are the ones that we have on campus for Project Lead the Way are Introduction to Engineering Design, Principles of Engineering, and there'll be a third class that we'll be trying to add later. But also students who are trying to do that should also be taking Computer Science 1 and 2 to help them meet the engineering pathway. And also they should be on the path to take AP Calculus BC by the time they're a senior.
And then there's a question about an AOF acceptances. Have they been sent after application in October last year? That would be a question for Miss Shopper or Miss Jackson.
Yeah, Miss Jackson. So I don't know what their procedure is, but generally if a student wants to be in the Academy of Finance, they should have already completed Principles of Business and Business
There's a
Information
question that
Management.
says our student has been advised by her teachers to take so far 3 AP classes in 10th.
What was that? Ms. Metcalf, we didn't hear you.
I went ahead and answered it. Basically, they were just saying that the teachers advised a lot of AP classes and was asking if that was okay. My answer was basically just if the student is not stressed out this year, they're okay. They're a strong student, that is not uncommon. Usually the teachers have the best insight for that. But if you're unsure, maybe you reach out to the counselor individually and we can kind of look at the data. But the big thing is if the student did well this year and is not stressed out, then go for it. But definitely keep an eye on their mental health, especially with everything that's going on.
I agree, because that if they're handling this virtual learning and distance, then and they're doing well, then they're going to be okay in that level. If they're not, AP physics, chemistry, even virtually is a disaster.
So I think we have answered all of the questions that are in there. Does anybody else have any other question that we can answer for you? If so, put them in the chat before we close out for the evening. There is a question that says, is there a new counselor for the Bs?
Not right now. This Miss Arrington has picked up the Bs, Mr. White has picked up the As, and I picked up the Cs.
There's some new ones coming in, Mr. Harrington.
Okay. Ms. Mouton, I'm trying to figure out what option to Academy of Finance for a business endorsement. There's a new, it's business management, but I'm not sure what courses we offer yet to do that. The Academy of Finance, the students generally has to take Principles of Business as a freshman, BIM as a sophomore, Accounting 1 and Financial Math as a junior, and Accounting 2 as a senior. Those are the best courses for a business degree and the Academy of Finance. And the Academy of Finance requires them to meet the business endorsement. So that's basically what I can recommend for that. Can you take an HCC course during the summer? Between their junior and senior year, if they'll send it to me and talk to me about what course they want to take, I have to work with the director of dual credit with Spring Branch so that we can arrange a course. And it has to be a course that we allow them to take. There's very few courses that they can take at HC that we allow. So it has to be something that we have a crosswalk between HCC curriculum and the TEAS of Texas that we can give the credit for that goes through. So that's a little bit touchy. So just make sure that if you'll contact me, I can work with you and get that. That's something I work with all day long, working on the dual credit and working with those classes. So that's something I can help you do. Ms. Metcalf, I think that's it.
Yes, I believe so. Well, we really appreciate everybody coming this evening and all of your questions. And I know that Mr. Barnes is really sorry that he didn't get a chance to be on here because he's under the weather, but he sure would have liked to have been on here and speak with all of you. But again, thank you for your time. And thank you, panelists, for answering all of the questions. And you certainly can email or call any of the counselors or any of the grade level principals if we missed your question and you didn't get an answer to it. Have a great evening. Thank you.
I think one of the parents asked about ranking, and we don't rank till the end of their junior year. So there's no ranking until the end of the year. They get a quartile, and that's all we give them up until that point.
All right, y'all have a great evening. Bye.